Yo, what is going on today, everybody, and welcome back to another Fortnite Chapter 4 video. Today we're going to be taking a step inside my mind in a solo Cash Cup Finals game, and I'm going to be spilling all the tips and tricks that you're going to be needing to utilize in order to qualify for every solo Cash Cup Finals. As a player, right now is the best time to be playing solos, as it is the easiest format ever to qualify to a Finals 4. That being said, it is still not the easiest thing to accomplish for most players. Today, from start to finish, I'm going to be showing one of my most stacked finals games, and I'm going to be sharing everything that I feel like is going to help you to achieve qualification. A lot of people over in my JCM Discord community have been requesting a video like this for a long time, and they've been asking me about a lot of things such as my drop spot, my looting routes, certain strategies that I may use to make it to late game, and even how I play out my late game with certain strategies and stuff like that. By the way, feel free to join the Discord community. The link is in the description below. So for the like goal on this video, let's see if we can smash out another 500 likes. Also, if you're new around here, above 90% of my viewers are not subscribed to the YouTube channel. If you enjoy Fortnite competitive content, what the John are you doing? Hit the sub button, as well as typing in code JCMYT in your Fortnite item shop. Now, like I said, I'm gonna be breaking down the best finals match I've ever had as a competitor and the closest I've ever been to earnings in this video. But first, I want to start off with a few fighting tips because I feel like that's the thing I don't include the most of in these videos. Keep in mind, I'm playing on 60 ping, which at a competitive level is a little bit of a disadvantage, so these things that I'm about to share with you are things that almost every player can do. Starting off this fight, you notice that I'm ramping towards this guy. This is a trick that works even on some of the highest level players. I don't even know what to call this move. It's just this little like backside peek type thing, but when you're doing this move, they can only see like chest up on your body, so it's a really good angle to peek from. If you've watched any of my tips and tricks videos in the past, then you know what I'm about to say already, but when an opponent is going for chug splashes, that is the best time to try to take their wall. The reason for this is when an opponent is hitting chug splashes, there is a swap delay between throwing the chug splash and trying to hold the wall. I took this wall first try and it was such an easy cleanup. Now before we do hop into the finals game where I almost made my first earnings, I have one more fight with a couple different tips that I think are going to help a lot of people. First things first, I laser this guy with the SMG to start off the fight. Again, if you followed me for a minute, you know that tip already. Always start the fight with your SMG. As soon as you get that crack, you want to close the distance and get in their face. But this player was actually pretty good and was able to make space and get off a couple of heals. During this fight, he was constantly trying to elevate, get up a layer, make a box so that he could heal. And notice how right here when I'm on this stair, I'm kind of above the layer of his box trying to take the wall. And as soon as I noticed he was moving in a certain direction, my first instinct is to try to place all of the pieces above the area he is moving towards. Once I realized that I had both the floor and the cone above this guy, I go for a full piece box from above. This allowed me to get so much free damage and is a move that you can use in a lot of fighting scenarios and works against high skilled players. This guy has like 40 HP or less when he decides to use the kinetic blade, and you already know I'm chasing him immediately. As soon as my feet hit the ground, I'm spraying my SMG trying to pressure him, and then when I notice he's going above me, this is just a good habit to get ready to place cones because you never know when you're going to be able to capture someone in a cone. Look how far away I am when I'm placing this cone above his stair. In this situation, it worked perfectly. Once I noticed I captured him, I got the wall on the side, and since I knew I had a massive health advantage, I'm just going to finish off this fight instantly. This guy got bodied the entire fight. The moment that I beamed him at the beginning of the fight with the SMG, he was panicking and I had the advantage. Playing the way that I did, notice I did not jump in his box at any point to take a 50-50. I played from a little bit of a distance. I tried to take pieces. I got all the free damage I possibly could have. Patience is key when trying to win these high elo fights in tournaments. I really wanted this video to have some fighting tips included because I know a lot of people are working on their fighting, so hopefully those tips helped you guys out a little bit in some way. But now it's time to get busy in the solo Cash Cup Finals where I almost made my first earnings, and I'm gonna break down pretty much this entire match and everything that I felt is really important when it comes to trying to consistently qualify for finals. You're gonna notice my drop spot here where I'm landing at is this little bamboo shack that has like a ton of heals. It even has an ODM gear spawn here. This might be the #1 thing I'm gonna tell you all video is you need to master your drop. I say this in every tips and tricks video. Having the best drop, even if you have to go make a drop map or buy one, it doesn't matter. Making sure you're the first person to touch that spot, that is the exact moment that sets up the entire rest of your game. In this match here, I was uncontested, so I didn't didn't have to worry about fighting off spawn. But I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter if you're landing at the middle of nowhere or mega city, being the best drop is the #1 thing. As I'm sure you guys are already aware, the heal off meta this season is ridiculous. You need to have as many heals this season for late game as you can. That's another reason why I picked this spot in particular, because in this biome, there are these really big bamboo stalks, and some of them have like a couple of these brick statues around them. Now, these are the ones that give you mad heals. Just look on the screen right now and look how many white heals I'm getting from this spot. Keep in mind though, if you do choose to land in a spot like this, it's usually very contested. It's like they say, high risk, high reward. I noticed that this kinetic blade was kind of just chilling over here, and in solos, I always prefer the kinetic blade over the ODM gear. That is a bit of a preference thing. They both serve the same purpose, but for me, the kinetic blade just seems to have a little bit more firepower. Upon noticing that I had a key, I'm very familiar with this part of the map, and I know that there are hollow chests nearby. And what do you know, there's a purple pump in the hollow chest that is a must grab. Now it's time to talk about rotations and where I like to usually rotate to after I land. You also want to keep in mind during your rotations, you want to be looking for surge tags. I typically like to go over to this metal spot because obviously having as much metal is going to be very important. But when I got here, I noticed that there was a guy here. Bear in mind, this is the finals. There will not be a bad player. Knowing this fact, I just wanted to get some easy surge damage on this guy unless I absolutely fried him and felt confident towards winning the fight 100%. Notice I did not get the biggest beam, so in my mind, I'm accepting that as storm surge tags. I'm not psychoing in and throwing my entire game. Knowing that kills are worth absolutely 0 points, the only time you really want to go for a fight is if you need the loot to get the win. I ended up backing off nicely and calmly, and this guy didn't mess with me because he was a smart enough player to know that only the win is the priority in these finals matches. I ended up maxing out my white heals because I found another one of these giant bamboo statues, but on my rotation out, I noticed that this player was running in front of me. Again, during this fight, I am not fighting with the mindset that I need to absolutely destroy this guy. My only goal is to rack up my storm surge damage. Notice how I'm passively just sitting back, spraying my SMG, trying to get that chip damage. And then when I notice he's hitting chug splashes, I'm like, alright, I'm out. My time has come. I don't need to continue fighting this. But then I hear his shield get cracked. When I heard his shield get cracked, I went to go and see if I could maybe get the kill on him. Upon coming back into the fight, I'm trying to play confident because I know I have a massive health advantage, but I'm also keeping in mind that there is a third party and I need to not get fried from the third party. Even knowing that I have a massive health advantage, I'm playing this slow and safe because I know in the back of my mind that getting this kill is not a need. In my head, I'm like, this guy's probably already back to full again, so I'm just gonna dip. I'm gonna go get my mats up and I'm going to be prepared for this late game. No fights are needed. On this rotate out, I noticed another one of the big bamboos that gives a ton of white heals, so of course I'm gonna break that and see what I can find. And then I see this goofy goober running around like a chicken with his head cut off, so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get a little bit more surge just to be on the safe side. Again, not trying to dabble too much into the fighting aspect of things. During my mid game, I really did not run into many people while rotating until I was farming up the metal right here. This guy absolutely psychoed at me. I ended up making a bunch of space in case I was forced to fight this guy because having space is key. But the first opportunity I got when I noticed that he didn't have a clear look at me, I used my kinetic blade to rotate away from this guy. And I'm not sure if it was lucky that he didn't keep chasing me or if he realized, oh, this guy is just gonna keep using the blade to leave me. But eventually he did bug off and I realized, oh my gosh, I need to get my wood back up. So I went over to the Lonely Labs side of the zone to farm these trees because I knew that this was most likely gonna be the most dead part of the map. And eventually I ended up getting my mats squared away yet again. So now let's go ahead and jump into the late game of the match where I decided in my first rotation that I'm not going to stay on a low ground layer. In this meta with the kinetic blades and all the other movements, you want to be at least in a mid ground layer. Choosing the spot on top of the tower was a good start. Eventually, however, I heard somebody all the way on low ground wall replacing out the entire tower, so I knew that this guy was plotting on dropping me down. So I rotated over to a different building that I knew was not going to get chopped. Look, he was replacing the entire tower and he was gonna chop me out. What a goofy little gremlin. When it comes time to, again, I'm using my sword to rotate in a good spot in zone. I land on this other building and another mid-ground position, and I'm basically just not opening, not going for tags. Also notice how in this lobby it was dead enough to where the storm surge did not really matter, although most of your finals matches you're going to want to be aware of storm surge. And once the moving zones start up for this match, the one thing that I have in mind is I want to focus these rotates using as little mats and as little heals as possible. I'm gonna let most of this game play out so you can observe how I did that, but one more thing before I do is the last thing you need to note is that at this point in the game during rotations, you want to keep your eye out for any type of easy refresh kill. All it takes is one kill at the perfect time to get enough mats to carry you throughout the rest of the game and get the win. I'm gonna let you guys watch this late game, but there is a moment here soon where I will feel like I need to mention something, so just stay tuned. You'll notice that for the most part, I'm just trying to go box to box using my kinetic blade, saving all the mats I can. I don't think it was a bad play to sit in the storm at this moment to get this guy's loot because he did end up having 3 slurp juices, as you can see. But the mistake that I made instead was I sat for too long here in storm. What I should have done was dropped my SMG, carried all of the white heals, and gotten back into zone as soon as I could have to minimize the amount of storm damage that I'm taking. The reason you don't want to take a lot of storm damage is because when you take 600 damage total, that's when storm sickness begins, and that's when you begin to rapidly lose HP. And you want to start taking storm sickness as late into the game as possible. So right here, it was basically GG's because of all the time that I spent in the storm beforehand. Had I gotten back into zone with like 6 chugs and a couple of slurps, I might have had a chance to win the heal off. Unfortunately, I did not have the pizza perk because my RNG is terrible, but hopefully Fortnite does something about these heal offs because I don't think many people are a major fan of them. So hopefully you guys gained a lot of tips and tricks from this video. That's the closest I've ever been to making earnings. Shout out to the real ones who already watched the video and saw this gameplay before this video. By the way, if you watched all the way through to this point, you're an absolute legend. Go ahead and drop the thumbs up emoji down in the comment section below for 2 reasons. If this video helped you being the first, and also I'm just trying to see who the real ones are like always. So again, thank you all so much for watching today's video. I hope you did enjoy and learn something new. If you want to see another video of mine, it's on the screen right now. That would mean the absolute world to me. And guys, as always, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day or night. It's been your boy 5 Spots from Earnings JCM, and I will catch you all in the very next video. Peace.